I'm Jeff De Leon, CEO of Anaheim Clinical Trials, and I'm very excited and proud to actually show to you our new facility. This 30,000 square feet, single-story facility was designed to match our operational flow, which you will see later on in our tour. With the current expertise of our staff members, from investigators down the line to our robust and ever adapting SOPs and SWPs, and now with this 30,000 square feet of clinical research site, we believe that we can serve our stakeholders better. Our subjects, our staff members, of course CROs and sponsors. So before we proceed with the tour, let me just show you a quick introduction to our logo. So as you can see, in our wall here, it says ACT. Of course, that stands for Anaheim Clinical Trials. But if you look closely, there's going to be two arrows. Those arrows represent our expertise in conducting clinical trials. The short arrow represents our expertise in early phase, PK, first in human studies. And the long arrow represents our expertise in long phase studies. Now, why do I go into detail about this? It shows you our unique position in terms of offering both services to you. Not all clinical trial sites can do those. So 30 years ago, we first started doing late phase studies, which means high randomization rate, high compliance rate, high completion rate. And 15 years ago, we started doing early phase studies, which means fast-paced, very in-depth, very high maintenance studies. Now, with the current change of the landscape of clinical trials, we now are seeing early phase studies that has long follow-ups to match, the PK or the metabolism of the medication. And we at Anaheim Clinical Trials are very experienced in doing that. The C in the middle, of course, stands for clinical, but the earlier rendition has concentric rings. It's kind of like the rings in the tree. And what it represents is our capabilities of conducting not only the basic, first in human population, but also more subspecializing the different populations. So what do I mean? Like Japanese bridging studies, Chinese bridging studies, any type of those subspecialties, we are able to do so. And lastly, the color is in titanium, because we believe in Anaheim Clinical Trials that our company mission is to provide unquestionable data with world-class customer service. And titanium, as you know, stands the test of time. And we believe that our data will stand the test of time because it's done correctly the first time. And lastly, as you can see, we're part of CenExcel, Centers of Excellence. As of this recording, there are 6 clinical trial centers part of CenExcel. CenExcel stands for Centers for Excellence. And with this mission of ACT and the vision of CenExcel providing Centers of Excellence, we are able to do and deliver quality data with the timelines that you projected. So now on with the tour. We have 2 conference rooms in this new facility. Each conference room could have 25 people. We have 5 dedicated monitoring rooms. And each of the monitoring room will have a standing table, of course, and a sitting table. For our sensitive areas, it's key fob access only, and this area is going to the screening. So meaning only patients with accompanied research staff members can go in. Once you make a left here, you will see immediately that there's the 2 investigators' offices here. Very briefly, we have Dr. Winkle, who's been doing this for the last 30 years. We have Dr. Hagag, who's been doing this for the last 15 years. So it shows you the expertise that we do have. Both of them are full-time research doctors. Both of them are here pretty much Monday to Monday at 7 days a week. We're gonna have on your right side, we're gonna have 6 of these exam rooms. So 1, 2, 3, and the other 3 on the other side. I'll show that to you very, very briefly. On your left side, we're gonna have an admin area here that we can use for pre-screening. We can do pre-screening for your A1Cs. We can do pre-screening for your low testosterone or whatever the case may be. Of course, the standard issue stadiometer and weighing scale. On this left side, we have 8 consent rooms. So if you follow me, let me show you an example. So for exam room 4, as you can see, and this is the same for all ICFs, so you're gonna have a table and then you're gonna have a couple of chairs. In terms of the interpreters, we do have different like Spanish speakers, Japanese speakers, because we do a lot of those studies. So when I say in the beginner, there's going to be a lot of flow, it kind of makes sense. So the patient walks in, we do the ICF here. Once ICF is done, then we go to one of these exam rooms here. So again, 3 exam rooms at the front, 3 exam rooms here. Let me show an example. Each exam room will have the same setup. You have a network time protocol clock, which is going to be the same clock across. It's a system called Visiplex, and the same pager system that we also use. I don't know if you noticed, we also have ECGs and blood pressure machines in each room. All of our machines are calibrated annually. We have a vendor come here for a couple of days and they calibrate it annually every May for that one. After they're done with the examination, which by the way, this is where we do everything except for the blood draw. So you do the physical exam, you do the blood pressure, you do the ECGs. After you're done with that, then you can proceed to one of these restrooms behind you. So you have 1 restroom here, 2 restroom here that you can give your urine sample or your stool sample depending on the case. So as you can see, there's a certain flow in terms of conducting here. Once you're done with that, we are going to reserve the last portion of it, which is the blood draw, at the end, because we want to make sure that the patient qualifies before we do any unnecessary painful procedure for them. So if you come here, as you can see, we have a phlebotomy area here. We have 5 chairs now. The same setup. You're going to have a clock there, which is going to be the same for everything. And then you have we have LVNs on staff. We have RNs on staff that can get your blood, of course, phlebotomies as well. If you go behind you, let me show you real quick. We also do a lot of NASH and NAFLD studies, and we have our own machine in terms of doing that. We actually have 2, one's sponsor provided, but we can do 1. The beauty of these FibroScan machines is you can actually diagnose someone in terms of the liver impairment and not going through the unnecessary pain of the liver biopsy. So we have 2 of those. So for example, when they're done with the blood draw, we give them the study reminders and the diaries of the case or whatever the case may be. Then through this door, they can immediately go out and make a right there, and they're done with the screening process. So as you see, there's a lot of flow that we talked about in terms of doing this design. Now if you go back, let me just show you real quick since we're already here. We have 2 secure locations for the pharmacy and also for the laboratory. And again, it's a key fob access. So if you enter the pharmacy, on your left side, you're going to have your ambient study medication, which of course is locked, and this, only the pharmacist and the nurses supervisor will have access to this room. And of course, what you're looking at now, you have 2 refrigerators, and you have 2 biolaminar airflow. So we have 2 full-time pharmacy team members, and you're going to need them in the future, but pretty much they're full-time. They're not contractors, and they're always here. If you look here very closely, you also have an analytical scale here that can go from whatever measurement you need. And we can reconstitute medication here, powder, oral, whatever the case may be. If it needs to be done in a sterile room, we have a vendor that we can do so, which is less than 10 minutes from here. If you put your attention here, all of our refrigerators and freezers in the laboratory and the pharmacy are connected to a system called Veritech, VERITQ. That is an online temperature monitoring device that will get your temperature for every 5 minutes. And once it goes out of range, then we will alert the core people, which include your pharmacists, your nurses, and of course your laboratory technician. And since we have 24/7 people here, it always gets addressed. For your monitoring visits, we print out those lab reports. It's very easy. Once you see it inside the graph, that means you're okay. But it's a very good system in terms of monitoring the temperature, and we have a quarantine process just in case we need to quarantine certain medications that go out of range. Again, that's Visiplex system that we're using. It's cloud-based system. You have your clocks there, which is the network time protocol. The same way you get your time through your phones. And again, you see this top. This is actually for the room temp. It gets min, max, and humidity. We're now going to the laboratory, and again, this was one of the big things that we were excited about. This is a key fob access. But we're excited about this is because of the flow of it, which will make sense once you see it. So in this area, you have centrifuges and you have the machines, but this is where you receive the lab sample. And you might be asking, why do we have a door here? Let me show you. So this door will provide an easy access going to the PK section area, which is kind of cool. But anyways, again, this is where we receive the sample. This is where we're going to process the sample. We have refrigerated centrifuges, different brands, but mostly it's Eppendorf. And then once we process the sample here, we take them out by bed, we put it into one of these refrigerators or freezers. We have a negative 80 here, Solo brand, and we have another negative 70 here. We have a 2 to 8 degree here, and they have a negative 20 here. So this is monitored the same way as the other room that you were in, which is the pharmacy, which is again the Veritech system, which is a cloud-based temperature monitoring device. So again, you get the samples there, you process them here, and then you store it there. Now once you're done storing, you're gonna make a left here. Once you're done storing them, then this is the area where you're gonna do an inventory or do your paperwork and manifests and stuff like that. So I can see there's a good flow in terms of doing samples processing in this area. We're now going to our dedicated space for QA regulatory and data entry. Again, this is a key fob. So once you enter and follow me, if you make a right here, that is going to be our QA office. Our QA is being led by someone who has like 21 years experience in clinical research. So we're very happy with that one. And you're right, we're going to have our regulatory people. And again, more experienced people. In terms of regulatory, we can do electronic regulatory, it's called real-time CTMS. And lastly, you have a data management people here. So our data management is actually kind of cool, if I can talk to you very, very briefly about it. So usually coordinators enter the data, but before there was no one who's trying to check if the entered data was right. And what we did is 2 years ago, we started a group called Data Management. And Data Management team is actually a group of coordinators who have previous research experience. So when they examine the data, when they go back in the EDC and see, they actually know what to look for. Meaning if there's any transcription errors, or if it doesn't make sense. If someone entered, of course, inadvertently, if they put respiratory rate of 16, pulse rate of 16 and respiratory rate of 82, then you know there's something going on. And with this experience in clinical trials, then this data management people will know what to look for. And we're very happy with that one. The monitors are very happy in terms of not having a lot of queries. But anyways, this is the main reason we want to combine all three departments, because in a sense, all of them are related in terms of quality. And lastly, I don't know if you took a note of this. This is our chart storage. So all of our active source documents are kept here. We are still in paper source documents, the one you're looking for regulatory right now, and we have our paper source documents there. And the same thing with everyone else. Once it's done, then we ship it out to certified archives. We keep it there for 2 years after that's the approval. Now we're back to the lobby. Earlier we did the left side, now we're entering to the right side. Again, it's the key fob, and this is more for the admin offices. So if you follow me, on your right side, you have areas here for your coordinators, as well as all your assistants as well. So right now we have 20 full-time coordinators, 5 assistants just in terms of the screening process. So now we're going to our recruitment. If you see here, we have 10 cubicles. We have different speaking staff members. We have Spanish speakers, we have Japanese speakers, of course, because we do a lot of Japanese bridging study. And right now we are using a system called Clinical Conductor. The Clinical Conductor is a software that we bought, but the database is ours. So if you come to us saying, hey, how many of this X amount of patients do you have, we actually go to that system and tell you the actual numbers. We're not making up numbers as we go along. And second, the Clinical Conductor is where we get the select population to make sure that the study is being we're enrolling the best subjects for those studies. And when I mean best, these are previous completers and also previously who've done clinical trials before. So in that way, we make sure it's everything's efficient, and not only the randomization rate is high, but also the completion rate. And then if you go here, we have another area for our coordinators. Again, we have 2 main areas for coordinators, and each area is kind of like a hub, because you have 4 and it's set up by a team. So the good thing about that one is if you have, let's say, one study assigned to specific coordinators, there are actually at least a minimum of 4 coordinators working in your study. So if that lead coordinator is out, then there should be a lot of more backups that can help you with your needs. We are now in the area of our private rooms. We have 14 private rooms. Since we do a lot of pain model studies, we do a lot of patient that needs to be in the private room, we have that capability as well. So let me show you a sample. So this is room 5. Pretty much each room will have its own bed, and those beds can be modified in terms of going up and down, either the head or the foot part. But very important is each of the room will have a safety button. And this safety button will tell the nurse or whoever's on shift that, you know, room 5 needs help. And all of the rooms will have this, all of the bathrooms, all of the areas that our patients are going to be staying will have this safety feature. So very important, as you can see, this is the nurse's station where we have full visibility of all the patients here. But we also have the safety feature of the paging system. And again, this is under the system of the Visiplex, which is the same system for your clocks, the same system for your paging system. But what we'll do is we'll do some strobe lights, and we'll do a loud announcement if we need to evacuate or anything like that, which is very important in terms of our patients staying with us. We're now in our general purpose area. So the goal of this one is to have, you know, different arrangement just depending on the need. So you may have 20 patients here doing every 15-minute blood draw, then we can arrange the chair. It kind of makes sense, you know, the flow of the operations. So very, very briefly, we have a nurse's station here. You have one of the 4 phlebotomy chairs here. And again, we do a lot of PK studies where there's a lot of blood draws in between. These recliners actually function as not only for recliners for blood pressure and ECG, but also for blood draw. You can put some attachments there. Same thing with the machines that you saw in the physical exam room. These machines are all calibrated every month, and we have a lot of machines, blood pressures and ECG as well. And we have recliners here. So the flow is, for example, you know, we dose a patient here, they stay here to do the ECGs, and then they go there on the left side for the blood draw. So again, it's a lot of functionality involved in design in this place. I don't know if you noticed, but we do have a crash cart there. Our crash cart is maintained monthly by our nurses. It's both adult and pediatric, capable of intubation. And very, very briefly, this place is actually similar in terms of the distance from Anaheim Regional Hospital, which means we have the same access, which is 5 minutes from here. Anaheim Regional Hospital is a major hospital that has an emergency room, that if you have anything happen, we can have the patients or our study participants go there, and Dr. Winkle have privileges in that hospital, which means he can see those patients right away. So very, very important for us is the safety of our study participants, and we're happy that we found this location, which is actually very close to Anaheim Regional Hospital. Now going to the dormitory, we have 2 dormitory rooms here. We do this for our early phase ethnic bridging studies. For example, if you make a left here, this is a typical of our rooms. Most of the top bunk bed is used just for storage. It's just at the bottom. And very important is you have in each room, everyone will have access to that safety button in the same concept, meaning if they have an emergency, they just pull out that string and the nurses will tell them which room needs help. If it's 1A or 1B, then they will know. So we're now going dormitory 2, the same concept, meaning each of the dormitory have a subdivision of the rooms. So a typical room is going to be your left side, where you have a couple of bunk beds that the patient can stay. Of course, each bunk bed will have access to the safety button as we showed you earlier. So the 3 additional areas that we have in this location that we didn't have in the previous one, which we're very happy for the patients, is number 1, we have an outside patio for them. Again, they're going to be fully supervised, but on days that they don't have a lot of procedures, especially in the afternoon, you know, they can hang out here on a limited time with their staff members, so they can get some fresh air and rid of whatever the case may be. But it's kind of cool for them to have this. So as I said earlier, we're very happy for the subjects. They have an outside patio now. And second thing is we have a quiet area dedicated for them. Quiet areas for them in the downtime again during their procedure days. They can just be here, read a book, and try to have a place that they can you know, read or meditate if they have to. Another area that we didn't have before is the business area. Now for our patients or study participants who are working and they need like an hour or so to work, then they can do it here. We have Wi-Fi access for them. We have LAN that they can connect to. But it's pretty much a cool area for them, especially if they're working while doing clinical trials. We are now in the study participants break room where we do give them the food. So as you enter, you can see there are several tables, several rooms, and several chairs, and of course the clock for taking note of their start time, stop time, and personal food. We do not have a kitchen here. What we do is we get the food from Anaheim Regional Hospital, their dietary department. And in terms of dietary needs, we have a nutritionist. Her name is Dr. Anna Parker, that can specify and modify your diet just depending on what macronutrients you need. And we get the food from there and we give it to the subjects here. In our new facility, we also have shower rooms and restrooms. And these restrooms and shower rooms are all equipped with the safety button that we mentioned earlier. So if there is an emergency, they fell on the floor, then they can be pulled out, and then the nurses will know which area needs help. Also in our new facility is we have a surgery suite. Right now we can't open it yet because we're not yet finished with accreditation, but the surgical suite will have 2 operating rooms and a recovery room or a PACU that can house for 4 anesthesia patients. And again, the main purpose of this is when we do post-operative studies, we do the surgery here, then we wheel them out to the private areas as you see earlier. That will make it more efficient and more reliable in terms of data gathering. Thank you for joining us in this virtual tour. Hopefully you had fun like we have fun touring this and planning this. Before I forget, we do have a business continuity plan in terms of emergencies. We do have a backup generator at the end. If you need more of those information or any other information, feel free to send me an email. The information is going to be listed below. And again, we thank you for considering Anaheim Clinical Trials. We take pride in what we do, and hopefully we can help develop new medications together.